just get Maria here. Hi, Alicia. Oh, I think she's here. Hey!
Yes, hello. Oh my gosh, I've never done this before.
Well,
This is
I'll tell you,
very,
every time I'm like the exact same amount excited that it worked because I always have this fear that, oh, I'm not doing it right.
I
Oh, it's
know.
gonna work.
Hi,
Hi, Alicia.
Liz. Oh,
I
I
miss
feel like now that I have my arm positioned, I have to move my mug of tea because otherwise I'm gonna gesticulate and I'm gonna spill it all over myself. And I just made it, so that would be very unpleasant. I'm gonna apologize if my dog barks. She's
Oh,
right. She's sleeping like a cute one.
well, we might have a little back and forth because my dogs are here. If they hear her, we'll just have
Perfect. It'll be great.
a little dog chat.
Love it.
Hey, welcome everybody to an In Harmony interview.
Yay!
This is like kind of our third one because we interviewed Alicia and then Lisa about the noonday stuff. So
Mm.
kind of
The
exciting.
noon day thing was really fun.
Yeah,
And my stuff already shipped, so I'm very excited.
mine's on the way too. So
Yeah.
Alicia already got hers. We announced the winner of the
Oh,
raffle.
really? I must have missed it. That's
Amy,
exciting.
Amy Seekley won.
Amy!
Yeah,
That's awesome. That's
and
awesome.
I didn't know, but she's a nurse.
Yeah.
So she said she really needed the pick me up. So I thought,
Oh, that's awesome.
yeah, just really
That
lucky.
makes me happy.
I mean, anybody who would have been drawn, I would have been excited for because we have the best supporters, but I'm really glad it was Amy. So,
That's very cool. That's very cool. I didn't know that. That's exciting.
yeah.
Love it.
So, I am Kate Bates, and I serve on the board of directors for In Harmony, and I'm so privileged to serve with Maria. And Maria, tell us about yourself.
Sure. So I'm a librarian and I work at Overdrive. You might know them from your local library. So they're an ebook and audiobook and many other media types provider for libraries. So if you've used the Libby app at all, that is Overdrive as well. So hopefully you've done a lot of happy reading, especially if you are social distancing and staying inside and not seeing people. It's a really good time to do that. So yeah, that's what I do during my day job. And then my side hustle is playing cello, which I haven't been doing much of lately because there haven't really been as many events or weddings and things like that, especially where they're having a lot of people. But normally I will play in a string quartet at weddings, cocktail hours, events, and I play in a couple orchestras here or there when gatherings can happen like that. And I'm from North Olmsted, Ohio, so I've grown up in the greater Cleveland area, moved back not too long ago. Now I'm on the east side, which is like, whoa, totally crazy compared to the west side. So if you're not from Cleveland, it's a very, when you cross the river, it's like going into another country for some reason, even though it's actually not that far of a drive. It's just like, people just are like, well, I can't do that. So I do it a lot now, and it's really fun.
And you just got married and you just bought a house?
Oh yeah, I guess I have other stuff going on. So I bought a house. My husband and I bought a house in June, or we moved in June, and then we got married in September in the backyard of said house. So yeah, it was really wonderful. He's downstairs playing video games.
And he's a musician too, right?
Yes, he is. Yeah, he does early childhood classes as well. Yeah, and he writes songs too. So it's fun. I get to hear them from upstairs. He'll be upstairs playing, and then the songs get in my head, and I'm like, oh my God, why am I whistling the song that's for like 5-year-olds? And that's my life. But yeah, I'm working from home right now, so I'm in my office right now. which is why Olive is on this couch, because this is like her couch basically during the day. And yeah, and I don't know if this kind of bleeds into the next question, but I guess I will talk about it. But I know Alicia, the executive director of InHarmony, from college, because I also went to Mount Union for my undergrad in cello performance, and then went to Youngstown State, and then went to University of Pittsburgh for library school. So
yeah,
going
well,
on.
yeah. So I had texted you a couple of questions, and I do want to know, because I've known you for like a year now, but I don't think I've ever asked you, why InHarmony? Why do you serve on the board? I mean, obviously you're a musician, and right
Mhm.
now we're doing predominantly music therapy, but what drew you to kind of, more than just support your friend, what drew you
Yeah.
to serve on the board?
So one thing that I've done some volunteering in the past, or, like either doing something with an orchestra or just like kind of a one-off thing. And I was kind of looking for like the next step into like serving somewhere that wasn't work, and I was looking around and I couldn't really find like a fit on like a board or something that I wanted to do. And then Alicia had contacted me, and she's like, hey, are you interested in serving on a board? Because, take a look at the InHarmony site, if it, I know you're interested in music, of course, and are a big, proponent of, that. And I'm always willing to talk to people about why music can help you. So I took a look and saw what she was doing, which like I only kind of knew like tangentially as like a friend, because it's not like the main thing that you would talk about if you're like having coffee with a friend always. Is like my job only. So I looked more into it, and I was like, this is awesome. It's basically, I'm a musician, but I am not a music therapist.
Right.
And quite honestly, I don't even really like teaching music. So,
It's
for
not
me,
for everybody. Yeah,
no, it's not. I tried. I did. And I liked teaching private lessons, okay? Like that was probably the thing I enjoyed most. But just like group teaching and stuff, I just really respect anyone who teaches anything. But I know, firsthand how important music teachers can be in general to students. And I feel like music therapy is just like a natural extension to that like I appreciate, you know what I mean? So that was something that I really wanted to, be a part of, really. And I also was like, okay, first board experience, and I knew there was a board president. Like I knew it wasn't just like me being like thrown into this that I, didn't have a lot of experience with, and that I had like a good team kind of to like back me up, like to help out. So that's been really fun, as far as like getting in that way, and like being able to kind of like learn alongside a couple of people, but also have like some mentors, I feel like, on the board too. So yeah, it's been great. It's almost 2 years. I don't know. What is time?
right. I think just one. I think it was
Oh, really?
well, no, I mean over one. I think it wasn't it August. So
Yeah.
it's a year and some change maybe.
Okay.
It's so bizarre. I was just saying to a friend, talking about, like, this is totally off topic, but so my youngest is 15 months old.
Wow.
And when we went into the pandemic, he wasn't even sitting. Like he was nowhere near crawling. He was just like kind of rolling, and you could kind of like seat him up against things. And now he's like walking and talking.
And you're like, we've been like basically in some sort of quarantine this whole time.
Yeah, I mean, we haven't done anything, normal.
Yeah. Wow.
Everything we've done has been like, social distance and stuff. So like half of his life he's just spent in this weird time, and it's so weird to try and assess time.
Yeah. It really is. I keep thinking, we got married like 2 months ago, And like not in a bad way or anything, it feels like it was like several months ago. Like I don't even, I have like such like vague memories of everything that wasn't like 2 weeks ago.
Yeah. It's so weird. And I feel like everybody can relate to that one thing is like, what is time right now? It just ebbs and flows and we wake up and we like stare at the date like, is it really November 18th?
Yeah,
Okay.
I know there's like there's like that website. It's like, what day is it?
Yeah.
Just click it, it tells you what day. Thank you. I mean, work really helps me remember what day it is. Otherwise, I I wouldn't know
Yeah.
at all. But yeah, that's kind of how I got involved within Harmony, and yeah, it's been great learning about this stuff.
And one of the things we talked over the summer about wanting to do as a board was kind of, I mean, Alicia, as the executive director and founder, is the face of the organization, but we wanted to kind of flesh out the organization and give ourselves as our faces and our testimony, and why we serve and why we're involved and why we think it's cool because all of the board members come with a different perspective. And so we kind of set this goal over the summer of having the board directly reach out and engage with followers and donors, a little bit more so that it wasn't just always Alicia's face, so that we could really give the organization the support from all these different angles. Like
Yeah.
our president, is has is at the end of her career, and then our treasurer is kind of coming from like a marketing perspective, and we've got a brand new music therapist on the board, and then your background, coming from this librarian perspective. It's just really cool. So it one of the things that we thought of was engaging with the donors more, and you wrote this really cool blog post that we just published this week. It's actually linked to the In Harmony interview post, and we can maybe link it when we post this live too. But tell us a little bit about that and what kind of how that came to be.
Yeah. So, my first couple, actually my internship and my first couple jobs outside of like right after library school were in community college and higher education. And, you do, when you're in grad school, you're doing all this research and you're reading these literature reviews, and after a while you like, fall asleep with them like on your lap, and then you wake up and there's like highlight on your face. Okay, whatever. I still printed out a lot of my articles because it was just easier for me. But so, and then the second I stopped, working in higher ed, I just stopped reading those kind of things, which is fine because like I don't think a lot of people maybe read like literature reviews for fun, so I get that. But I did notice myself like when I did want to find something out, I'm like not a really big new like main media outlet reader, which is probably great for my stress levels. But I tend to like look for like open access, not that every open access article is amazing, but I tend to look for like open access academic articles, and I'll like read the abstract and like the introductory, like maybe like page or two, because to me, I don't know, to me it's just the way that I'm used to learning things. And I think some people don't realize that like some of these articles that they're reading every day can lead you down this rabbit hole to like something that you end up being really interested in, or that you end up learning about, when you probably wouldn't have investigated it in the first place, which is basically, long story short, is how I got started reading nonfiction books. I don't think I'd ever read like an actual nonfiction like book for like popular reading ever. And I started doing that after I realized, oh, I kind of miss this. Although I don't want to read, 80 pages of articles every night. So I was just kind of talking about that in the way that it helped me learn more about trauma-informed care and trauma-informed therapy that, Alicia would bring up, and I'd be like, yeah, trauma-informed,
Right. It's a
Sure.
buzzword.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, and, on a base level, I think I get it, but there's so much more there. So I think it's just when you are involved in something or are interested in something, I just think it's a really great way to learn about it without in like a really informal way, really. And that's what I kind of like about that. So I think one of the things I posted about too was like, the condor comeback in California, which unfortunately, you go down. I read recently that a lot of them, unfortunately, didn't make it out of fires and things like that. So, you end up following, and of course, since your computer knows what you're doing, like the internet's like, well, I'll just give you more about condors then, sweet. And you end up just like learning more about that than you would. So just some of the examples I gave. Yeah, I guess, I mean, trying to think what else I wrote in there. I had it up and my computer is giving me like a very nice like backlight too, or like front light. I don't know terms, but it just went to its like screensaver and now I feel like I look less.
You look beautiful.
Right.
It's
But
perfect.
yeah, so that's kind of just like encouraging people to kind of like dive into an article that looks really interesting to you that may not be about the most popular current event, but is just something that you think sounds interesting, honestly. And reading up with trauma-informed therapy in that way is kind of just how I learned about it without asking just a bunch of questions of, the board.
Yeah. And I think there's an article that you linked in there too. That's a great
Mhm.
place for people to get started if they want to start to understand what it means to be trauma informed. Now, Alicia did a really good interview about a month ago now, talking about her perspective, having gone through the training, and what it means for the organization as a whole. But I think that as we move into this new decade, and especially with everything that, like we're talking about, this collective experience of missing time and life being paused and backyard weddings and then that's just like the bright end of it. The dark end of it is 250,000 people have lost their lives, and it's very isolating and scary. And so we're kind of going through this collective trauma, and so as we come out of this, I think it's going to be more than a buzzword, you know.
I agree. That's funny that you said that actually, because I was about to say there was that article, and then there was another article from like the Journal of it. There's like, of course, there's a bunch of acronyms and now I can't remember it, but definitely has an I and an S in it. That's really helpful. Oh my gosh. Well, I can send it to you.
You can go back and comment when we post this repost. You can
Great.
like go back and comment.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Perfect. If I had it up right now, I can't, if I put my phone down and do Control Delete on my computer right now, it's just gonna be a hot mess. So it's all good. But there was another article about how, when trauma informed becomes more, I don't want to say popular, but more well known, and maybe people are recognizing that as a buzzword, to remember that there are a lot of people who are dealing with trauma that have already felt like they couldn't speak up. So now that, people maybe feel better about speaking up, maybe seeking care or realizing that they need care, is that there's all those other people who had a really hard time with that. And that kind of tied back to that article that I posted about how I think it was middle school or high schoolers that were writing lyrics because they felt uncomfortable just discussing it with somebody. Mm-hmm. And I think that's just a really big thing to make it like past just being a buzzword, and like being aware that this is something kind of like systemic racism that has come to light even more now, that like needs to be more than just a buzzword.
Yeah, and I think the way that Alicia described it, and I'm probably going to butcher this, but I'll get better at it. We'll keep reading articles and we'll get better at talking about it. but she described it as, oh, there were three R's. It was realizing that it exists and being
Hmm.
able to recognize when you're interacting with somebody who's experienced trauma or is surviving trauma, and then understanding how to respond appropriately. I think it was realize that it's an ongoing thing and that it's out there, and the other thing is that it's not a definition that you and I get to say. It's
Right.
what somebody's lived experience is,
Yeah.
and then being able to recognize this person is coming from a place where they've had some trauma or they're experiencing trauma now, and learning how to respond to that. And so that's what In Harmony is going to try and do with with the kids that we're going to be working with going forward. And we've got some like really exciting programming coming up in the
Yeah.
next year, and I'm so I'm just looking forward to being able to serve the community in that way and to do the music therapy, but to bring this trauma informed practice. Um,
Absolutely.
what's like, so the three R's is something that I always think of.
Oh,
Do you
the,
have like a little nugget or something that you just want to tell people about what we're doing or about what it means to be trauma informed?
yeah. And also Lish commented, realize, recognize, respond.
Okay.
Yeah.
I was close. Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, I just saw that.
Thanks.
This, once again, if you are just joining, this is my first Instagram live I've ever done, so this is what's happening. I'm like, oh, comments, cool.
I was just looking at your face. I haven't even looked down at the comments. So thanks for reminding me that.
Hey, no problem. I would say, like, if I had to pick, like, three words like realize, recognize, respond, I think that to me, like the trauma informed care, I like that it's trauma informed, because I think informed for people who have maybe not experienced trauma is, or maybe, they have experienced trauma, but they need to realize that in order to help other people or try to help other people, they have to realize that their trauma is not the same as the next person's trauma. And that trauma can manifest itself in a lot of different ways, and not everybody is going to, need the same thing. So for me, it's keeping informed, making myself informed by, for me, reading. But, whatever way keeps yourself informed, if that means like watching somebody do a session with somebody, if that's a thing that you could actually do, I think that's sometimes really helpful for people to just see that, So I think for me, it's just the informed of trauma informed is important to me.
You're right that implies a certain level of due diligence to keep reading. So the first little nugget that you've dug up is in the blog post, which is on our website, inharmonyservices.org. And I really hope that you will continue, every couple months or something, if we could do like a literary search or an article list.
Oh, that'd be so fun. Oh man,
it would be so excited. It would be great for people in the field. It would be great for people not in the field or in tangential fields to have sort of a running list of things that we can stay up to date with, so that we can keep informed with.
And I'll find that other. I'll send that other link, because the couple of those were open, so people should be able to read them or like download them as a PDF if they want. And they were nice. It was more like a, hey, is this one was like, as trauma informed becomes more popular, there's work to do, with making sure it's being, recognized and given the amount of, importance and understanding that it has. And I forget what the other one was, but yeah, I'll definitely pass those along. Oh, thanks, Cassie. Cassie says I'm doing great. She also went to Mount Union. Yeah, we got a good Mount Union contingent here. But yeah.
So we advertised in our little post, and I'm so excited. We have really exciting news. Okay,
Yeah.
so remind everybody who Overdrive is. That's who you work for.
Yeah, so Overdrive is an ebook, digital ebook and audiobook and magazines and video and all that good stuff, provider for libraries. So you can check out Libby at your local library. Actually, you don't even have to be at your local library. You literally just have to download it on your phone. So but yeah, that's who we are, and I am a staff librarian there, and I work with a bunch of wonderful people. And am I allowed to say it?
Yeah.
Great. Okay. So I didn't know if there was like something they wanted to say, but basically,
Go ahead.
what's happening is that Alicia and the programming director. I'm not sure if that's her exact title, Abby.
Yep, the
yeah.
programming director. Yep.
And from In Harmony came up with this awesome idea called Rock and Read, and it's like literacy mixed with, you know, movement and music with storybooks. And there's like all these planned lessons, and it sounded really awesome. And I was like, man, that really sounds like something that Overdrive would be like totally down to sponsor or at least donate to, you know. So I was, you know, I was able to ask the company if they would donate, and they said yes. They were really excited about it because there's a literacy component, and Overdrive's mission is to create reading happiness. So yeah, it was really exciting to get the okay on that. So that'll be nice to have for, you know, having the books, having, you know, being able to have the time for the music therapist to go in and do this next year, and have some music supplies and things like that. So yeah, I was super excited.
Thanks to everybody commenting and celebrating with us. Yes,
I know. I love it.
Overdrive has agreed. We have to still work out some of the details, but like superficially, officially, they've agreed to launch a brand new program that our programming director, Abby Fistek, has developed. I'm going to read the little overview on it because it's so exciting. So it's called
really
Rock and Read. Here's what it says. Led by board-certified music therapist, Rock and Read, an arts-integrated residency program, is a collection of music and literacy lessons specifically designed for the K-2 classroom based on 12 storybooks. This residency program features original songs and music activities that integrate music and literacy skills to improve and support. Now, here's the music therapy. So we're using the music and we're using the literacy. K-2 students, the goals. Improve and support comprehension skills, sequencing skills, new vocabulary, and lots of other things. And students will love the interactive lessons that give them an opportunity to sing and move and play instruments while they're learning. Some of the books in the program are Chicka Chicka Boom Boom, Good News, Bad News, A Frog in the Bog, Down by the Cool of the Pool. So Abby is amazing.
Yeah.
She is absolutely incredible. And this is just the first official announcement of a whole bunch of programs that are going to be coming that we're working on teaming with other community organizations for funding and for collaboration. But this is the first one. So thank you so much for talking to Overdrive, and thank you Overdrive for agreeing to sponsor the launch of this program. It's gonna roll out in 2021 some way or another, virtual or in person, but we'll figure it out. And we're just so excited and so grateful to Overdrive. So yay!
I know, I'm really excited, and it's just fun to, you know, it was just really fun to like look through what Abby has planned for the program, honestly. So yeah, like I was like, man, this sounds fun. Like this is awesome. And then there's just so many things that like, there's so many good things that come out of it, learning objectives and, you know, this movement and that movement, and, you know, learning to sound out consonants or something. You know, there's like just all this stuff that this is why I don't lesson plan, because I'm just like, man, I wouldn't have thought of that. So it's really cool.
She's great. And then, you know, just to tie it all together, because Abby is a contractor or whoever the board certified music therapist is that's going to be implementing this residency, because they're under the umbrella of InHarmony, they work with Alicia to become trauma informed. So we have that piece of it too. So while we're doing the music therapy and while we're working on the literacy skills and while we're having fun, and there's also that social emotional support.
Yep.
That's able to help whether or not the kiddos have special needs or have just lived experiences that they're coming from, or post-COVID experiences, or mid-COVID experiences that are hard for, I mean, this is kindergartners, so like 5-year-olds, 6-year-olds, you know.
That's what I was actually just going to mention that, you know, like Jesse's niece is in kindergarten, and you know, for a while it's like you think about whenever they go to college, right? Like the thing they're gonna ask each other is like, did you have a kindergarten? Like, right. You know what I mean? Like, were you in kindergarten or were you at home? Like, it's just like a whole type of experience that, like, we can't even understand. So yeah, I feel like just social emotional learning across the board is going to be, I mean, it's always important, but I do feel like it's going to be extra important when everyone's had their own, you know, very, you know, traumatic experiences or experiences where they don't understand now what they're supposed to be doing day to day. I mean, there's just so many.
Yeah.
There's so many things to adjust to, for sure.
Yeah. So we're just so excited to be able to launch this, and you'll have to stay tuned because, like I said, Abby is amazing, and we have a ton of stuff ready to start.
I'm excited to hear about more of it. Yeah, that's awesome.
Anyway, we've got this blog post up, inharmonyservices.org. Just click on the blog part, and yours is the most recent post. So everybody should head there as soon as we're done here. Check it out. Check out the links and read a little bit about trauma-informed music therapy and the kind of stuff we're doing. It's a great time to learn about it, and pretty soon here we're going to be launching our year-end campaign, which means trying to get the fundraising so that we can actually, we've got the overdrive to support the launch of this program, and we need the fundraising because we are a nonprofit organization, which means that we do not charge the majority of our clients. So we need fundraising to be able to implement this and more programming as we go forward. So it's a good time, I think, to learn about really the important work that we're doing.
Yeah, absolutely.
And thank you for coming on and sharing your librarian expertise and your nonfiction, your passion for nonfiction. I used to have a passion for nonfiction, and I think you might have just reignited it because
I hope so. You know, honestly, nonfiction audiobook, where it's at. Very, yeah. For me, it's a lot easier to listen to something like that than read it. But I'm glad. I hope so.
Yeah. Well, I have Google, so I'll have to look into that. Maybe like while I'm doing dishes and stuff, just absorb all that great new information. It beats the news these days because that's insufferable.
I know, it really is. Olive's very excited as well. She has changed her position to being very...
Look at the excitement.
Excited, Olive? Oh, yeah.
I was going to say we got one eye.
I know. She's like, who dares disturb me right now? Can't believe you. It's dark outside. It means I'm sleeping.
Yeah. Well, thanks for hopping on late with me, though. It's so much easier for me when I don't have mom.
Not a problem. I was kind of glad because, you know, like by the time I made soup tonight and it turned out really good. But I was like, by the time it was done, I was like, oh my gosh, wait, shoot, what? I'm not doing this till 9:30, right? Because we didn't need till like 7 or so. So I'm actually glad it worked out very well. And yeah, this was really fun.
We'll have to do like a spring version with some updated literature.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. That sounds fun.
I'm going to hold you to that.
Okay. Sounds good.
All right. Thanks, Maria. And thank you to everybody who tuned in. Check out Maria's blog and check out for the repost of this because she's going to comment And
Hopefully put that link in that I can remember. Yeah.
if we have anything else to add that we're like, oh, I should have said that, we'll just put it in the comments and everybody can catch up. And thank you, Overdrive. Thank you, Abby. Thank you, Alicia.
Hey, thank you, Abby and Alicia and Kate. You guys are awesome.
Whew, hearts all around. All right. Good night, everybody. Thank you.
Bye. Bye.